And welcome everybody to another live stream. I am joined tonight by Stephen Cooper, Shiba Inu Live, back at you, and a bunch of people already hanging out with us. Hello to everybody out there. Stephen, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. So we were already talking a little bit off air. Let's jump right into it. Tell us about you. Tell us about how this thing started. And you've already told me you never envisioned this thing getting as big as it's gotten, and it's gotten pretty huge.
Yeah, it's blowing our mind pretty much daily at this point. You know, when we first started like the Burn playlist thing, it was just an extra fun idea to throw out to this community. It wasn't meant to, or we didn't have plans for it to kind of take on a shape, right? And so little background, you know, I started Bigger Entertainment with my best friend / business partner, and we've been doing that for years and years and years. And Bigger Entertainment is a music licensing company. We represent a bunch of different artists, a bunch of different projects. And what kind of separated us from other music licensing agencies is we never signed artists. We never tied them down to contracts. We only signed projects. So that's kind of what got us a little name in the music industry. And then before you knew it, we had songs on, you know, the NFL Pro Bowl and on Netflix and a lot of MTV shows. And so we were just kind of comfortable, you know, riding that wave. That was our company. And behind the scenes, a lot of us were crypto holders, and specifically me, I was into SHIB. And so just kind of piece by piece fell into place where we started talking about this community, getting involved a little more with the community. And then the idea of the Burn playlist came out, and then everything's been a whirlwind since. So
yeah, and there's big plans now for 2022, right? And I've hit on that a little bit on the channel, but who better to hear it from than yourself? So tell us what the big plans are. I know the next big burn coming up on the 14th of February, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so we wanted to do, I mean, the community seemed pretty you know, adamant about wanting burn parties every month if possible. And so we thought, why not? You know, they're fun for us. We get a kick out of them. And so the burn parties are a big thing. We're trying to be creative in how we market them and how we introduce new things each time. And so that's just really fun. But our big project as a company, I would say, is what you're showing now, MixDraft. And MixDraft is funny because it's actually an idea that we've had forever. As a company. So it's not something we just threw together and threw out there. MixDraft has probably been, you know, 3-4 years in development of the idea and the concept. And the concept is it's a music fantasy league. And so you basically have artists that you represent as your fantasy league. And then depending on how their songs do in real time among our stats from distribution and whatever, that creates the fantasy league, that creates the stats. And so we want to do that on the blockchain. We want to do that using NFTs tied to real artists. And we want to do that using SHIB as a coin. And so that's a huge project, massive. That's why we're raising money for it and trying to get it off the ground. But the concept itself has been something that we've developed for a very long time.
Love that, man. So so we were also talking a little bit about crypto in general. Do you want to share any kind of your stories with crypto and just kind of how you got into it? I mean, it sounds like SHIB was kind of the one that caught your eye. Why SHIB?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I come out of the stock world. I've been a professional stock trader for years, probably close to 5 now. And yeah, so crypto in the beginning, you know, all my friends and I, we would discuss it, but everyone was hesitant. Everyone was kind of like just watching from the sidelines. Way back in the day, a funny story, I was recording an album, and my engineer that I hired to help me record it was big into Bitcoin. And this was when Bitcoin was under $10. And for 3 months, we worked on this album. And every single day, he begged me to get involved with Bitcoin. And he was like, man, just give me $100, give me $200, whatever it was. And every day I told him no, or I'd think about it. And I never did, never looked into it. And missed a huge opportunity there. And fast forward, before Doge took off, I had many, many people around me who were talking about that. And I don't know. So I was, when the pandemic first hit, I had a guy who was talking pretty heavily about SHIB. And I was like, yeah, doing my normal thing. But something that time told me to just listen to him. And he was describing Shiba Swap. And Shiba Swap hadn't come out yet. He was describing all like the behind the scenes, what they're developing and how Shiba Swap will work. And the main thing that caught my attention was the 66% lockup on Shiba Swap. Because coming from a stock perspective, manipulation is our biggest battle people pump and dumps and the manipulation factors that they do. But if every time you're trading, if 66% of your funds get locked up, it keeps you from being able to do that on that level, right? So that caught my attention, and that was the initial piece that got me sucked into SHIB. And then once I started paying attention to the community, that's when I started learning a lot more.
So when did the actual burn start? When was the first burn? Was it October?
October 20th was when we launched our playlist. I actually don't know when our very first burn was. It was like a day later. But yeah, when we put our playlist up, it was October 20th. So it hasn't been that long.
So could you ever see this thing getting to where it is now? I mean, what did you think when you started it? I mean, what was the original kind of plan or the original goal for starting it?
Yeah, I don't think we had a plan or a goal, honestly. I think as musicians, and I'm also obviously I'm an independent artist myself, and so when I started this company, it was aimed at helping other independent artists, and that's Bigger Entertainment formed a niche in music licensing because that's an area that independent artists don't always have access to, right? It's very controlled by the big dogs in the same sense like Wall Street controls the finance market. You have the music industry controlling what songs go on TV shows and soundtracks and all that. So we wanted to play a part in kind of breaking into that and using nothing but independent music for it. And so I'm always looking for creative ways to market these artists that I think deserve to be marketed. And so I wasn't planning on the crypto world being that outlet at all. I was already a fan of SHIB. I was already a fan of crypto, and we just all were talking crypto all the time, right? And so once I remember logging onto Twitter one day, I was just checking into the SHIB community, and someone was mentioning burning their own coins to the dead wallet. And I was like, what's a dead wallet? Had no clue. And this was, beginning October, so it wasn't that long ago. And once I learned that, I guess I always thought that the dead wallet was only devs and only the elite could burn to those wallets. I didn't know any average person could. So once I learned that was the game changer. And that's when I was like, how can we burn coins? Why don't we put up a playlist? And that's all it was. That was the full extent of the idea. So
I absolutely love it, man. So in terms of future plans, is there anything that this next burn is doing differently than like when it first started back in October? This next one coming up on the 14th of February?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every week we've introduced new things, and the effects of that aren't going to be felt right away. But you'll see. So, we've done everything from now our website is monetized. We have ad revenue coming in from there. We're working on a game section. We're partnering with a game company who, has like 5,000 different games that we can choose from. All of them use ad revenue in game purchases. All of that will go to burns. Our merch store, expanding that from just SHIB merch to marketing that as decentralized merch among the coin communities. Those will burn SHIB. Our YouTube, here pretty soon, we're working on a couple ideas there that hopefully it'll burn 24 hours a day. And so all these ideas, and these are the ideas that don't have a lot of overhead. Those are the ones we're working on first. There's other ideas we have as a company that just require a lot. That's why the playlists and things like that are so important, because as our company grows, as revenue comes in, we're able to put those ideas into motion and in the end burn more and more and more.
Very cool. If y'all are enjoying this, make sure you just hit the like button real quick. Steven was so kind to join us tonight. I got to ask you this, man. So all the artists that are attached to the Bigger Entertainment brand, how did they like this idea up front? Did you let them know up front, or was it something that like happened and then it was like, whoa, we're getting all this exposure now because of the SHIB army? Like, how did that all play out?
That's actually a great question. So we, in the beginning, we didn't let all of them know. We just, as a company, we were like, oh, this is something cool we're going to do. We were going to burn out of our portion of the royalties. And that's why the burn rate in the beginning was so low. Because we were just, as a company, our cut, we were like, hey, let's do this, right? But then the artists got a clear picture because it exploded. They got a clear picture of how lucrative this was as far as from a marketing standpoint and being associated with the community of people. And I a quick side note here, I want to remind listeners, because there's a lot of people that are like, well, that's piggybacking off the SHIB community and that's this and that. There was a video put out not too long ago that I really respected, and it was talking about how, if Snoop Dogg tomorrow dedicated 1% of his royalties to SHIB, the community would lose their mind.
Yeah.
You guys, we literally have hundreds of artists dedicating their livelihood, a piece of their livelihood, to these burn campaigns. And I find that extremely incredible. I think that part is one of the coolest parts about this. So as a company, to answer your question, we shifted. And so now we kind of let the artists, we have some artists that are like, hey, burn 50% of my royalties. We have some that are jumping on our compilations like, hey, I want 100% of it to go to SHIB burns. And so we're at the point where we're leaving it up to them.
So Lyle Smith thinks you are Ryoshi. Do you want
to? I kind of like the unknown of that, so I'm going to leave that one alone.
Okay, I like it. Kelly, thank you for the super chat. Can you explain how to buy a ticket to the events? How is our ticket money burned?
Yeah, I mean, it's very straightforward. So instead of gas fees, gas fees right now, I don't know exactly what they are, but let's say for you to burn $5, it costs you $4 or $5. I don't know. It's like double your money. For us, for you to burn $5, it costs like 15 cents in a ticket transaction, and that's it. And so we take that, and instead we put it all in one pool, and we do the burn at once with the whole pool of money. So it's very simple. It's very straightforward. We don't make any money off the burn parties. So those tickets, outside of the standard fee just to buy the ticket, again, it's like 10, 15 cents. The rest of it goes to the burn.
Okay. Yeah, and if you all out there want to continue to roll in your questions, I'll try to get to as many as I can too, so we can just kind of slowly get into some questions too, and maybe I'll interject and ask something too. But Jeff's got a good one here. Stephen Coop, could you give us an update on the amount of people listening to the burn list? I'm sure that fluctuates, weekly or monthly updates, but he says he listens to the Shiba burn list every day.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Yeah. I will say that's been a part that has been fluctuating quite a bit. But on average, and this is the part that's kind of shocking, we only see between like 400 or 500 active listeners who are doing it like consistently. Now, again, because people come in and come out, just the overall average is 400 or 500 people, which is very, very low. Because I think when we first thought of like, okay, here's how many coins we could burn with it. I mean, we pictured like 10 to 20,000 on average. Yeah. Which would significantly increase the burn rate. And so we're hoping that picks up. I mean, I think what happened was when we put it out, two things happened. I think one, when we first were talking about the idea, we were like, oh, we didn't really know what a good amount of SHIB to burn would be. We were just like, this would be cool. This would be helpful. So we threw the playlist up, and I think our first thing was like, let's burn 5 coins per stream. We just kind of threw a number out there, right? We didn't expect press to pick that up. And so that got spread around. So everyone was like, that's such a low amount. And we were like, actually, that is, we didn't realize this would, So then we were like, okay, realistically, what can we dedicate? And from our cut as a company, 20% was the starting point. And again, we hadn't asked all the artists yet if they were contributing their portions and what. And so over time, that's gotten more and more increased. So now it burns anywhere from 20% to 100% of total royalties, depending on the projects. And so the burn rate's much better. But because of that FUD, because it was out there for so long while we were getting that together, the numbers died pretty significantly. So when we first launched, there were on a daily average around 12 to 15,000. And now we're down to 400 to 500.
Well, I'm sure that'll pick back up.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's a lucrative thing at the end of the day. I think we just need to do a better job of educating why that process happened.
Yeah, this is a question we've got a couple times. Let me pull this one up. So when is the step app for the SHIB burn coming? I think a lot of people are excited about that.
No, that's awesome. I want to remind people that we hadn't planned on building that thing until the whole Ask the Doctor situation. So it does take a second to get those ducks in a row. But we have met with a few companies. One we've settled on. Our main contact there got COVID, and so we're kind of in this waiting game of letting her recover, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But we are actively pursuing that. That'll be we're pursuing that actually harder than MixDraft right now, because MixDraft, we got to raise the money first. The step app is actually very doable. We figured out there's a lot of white labeling companies that'll help. Basically, the framework is already done, and we can just kind of manipulate it a little bit. And so, yeah, so we're we're on track there.
Love it. Here's another one. So this is one I see in my comment sections and in my Discord all the time. How long is it going to take to burn 1 trillion SHIB? Still not a crazy big amount, but it would seriously help the Shiba Inu progress, in his opinion. So
absolutely. I don't know an exact. In the beginning, we never actually claimed we were going to burn trillions. I think we just all really want to see that happen. Sure. I think that our burn rate is increasing as the playlist increase, as the merch sales increase, all this that's coming in, we're able to put to more and more things. It's gonna ramp up like a snowball. But I want to remind the community that there's 3 parts to this, in my opinion. Okay, and actually I wrote down some stats here. So and I don't want this to come off like us taking any sort of credit here. This is just overall community stats, because as a community, this is what's happening, right? So one of the main things is when we launched our playlist on October 20th, the average hold time for SHIB was 15 days. If you check it today, it's 61 days. That's a giant, significant increase in total hold time among all holders. And there's a reason for that. It's because people are like, hey, this burning thing among the whole community, not just bigger entertainment, the whole community could be a thing. And the reason I think it could be a thing is because, again, another stat, if tomorrow, if 1 million holders chose to burn just 1 million coins, that's $30. That's $1 trillion right there. There's $1 trillion just like that, And so part of this, to me, there's 3 parts. It's the hold time. That benefits the community. It's the inspiring others to burn themselves. That benefits the community. And then it's our burn rate.
I love it.
So.
Well, I'll tell you this. Any super chats that come in tonight, I will buy SHIB and send it to the dead wallet tonight. I will burn SHIB tonight. So hopefully that gets the ball rolling. And that's an amazing stat. If every holder burned $30 of SHIB, we'd be at 1 trillion.
That's 1 trillion right there. And that's the part that we're hoping happens is, we're going to do our best. We don't claim to be the answer here. We never have. We're just another tool and another asset. But if we can play our part in inspiring the community, then we all win in the end. So
I agree 100%. So I want to get to a couple other questions. We got a bunch of questions coming in. Thank you all so much for all the support and hanging out with Steven and I. Almost a little over 650 people in here too, hanging out. So make sure you hit the like button. Let's pass this out into the SHIB community and get some more of the SHIB folks in here. So just wondering, can anyone explain why the circulating supply is not decreased with all the burns? So there are some differences. It depends where you're looking on CoinMarketCap, but overall supply and circulating supply, there are some differences there. Steven, would you want to address that?
Yeah, I mean, I like to break it down into what I think, in my opinion, is like the simplest form, and it's that we're burning the excess right now. It's the surplus supply. Unless every single coin was held, this wouldn't immediately make an impact. And so this is excess supply being burned off. As the holders increase and more coins are bought, eventually you're going to have this effect. It's going to take a while, but eventually you'll have to where the supply decreases down to the point where all the coins are held. And then that's when you really see significant price changes.
Definitely. So somebody jumped in and said they're going to burn 1 million. There we go. River Rat. That's cool. Kelly, I think she's saying I got to check my Discord. Okay, I'll do that in a second. Let me ask you this, and then I'll hop over and check the Discord, make sure I'm not missing something that somebody wants to ask or something. But I heard once a month we're going to have a burn event. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to try to do it every single month. Actually, I mean, even if it's not a big event, we're gonna release the ticket sales and then burn once a month. So even if it's a quick little live stream, like, hey, here's us burning, we're going to do it once a month.
Now, where can we watch those live streams? Is that all through Bigger Entertainment?
Yeah. So if you go to, so all of our events, anything we do that falls under the event category, including burn parties, is going to be biggerentertainment.com/events. All the information's there. And then all our playlists are biggerentertainment.com/playlists. And I see you're showing the site. You can always see our Etherscan burn receipts. You can always see when we burned, how much we burned that time. This is an ongoing thing that is just constantly being updated.
Very cool. So how many artists have now bought into SHIB? Or how many people within the company did you kind of slowly get over to the SHIB army just from all these burn events?
Oh yeah, I would say between 50 and 60 artists now. We're working with over 100 artists combined. I would say 40% of those are from the SHIB community after we started the playlist. So of course we're still going through demos to this day from day one that we launched the playlist. I mean, we got so many demos, it was insane. But the ones that stick out, you know, we either get them on our compilations or we make a separate deal with them to get a project with them, whatever we got to do. And so I'd say about 40% already held SHIB and they're part of this community already. And then about 50 or 60 from our company that weren't a part of this before we started are now like they're in it. So whether they like it or not.
I love it. So obviously this whole thing started with SHIB. Do you have future plans to go into other cryptos? Maybe other communities in the future, or are you just kind of focused on the task at hand with SHIB first, getting us to 0.01 is the goal, right? I mean, the 1 cent, right?
Yeah, we treat this as a campaign. And so, I mean, I do think we may have other campaigns later down the road, but I'm very much, I know how delicate and how fragile what we're doing is. I know that trust is a huge thing among these communities. There's a lot of scammers out there, a lot of that stuff. And so we in no way want to move too fast to where it comes off that way. So this is our campaign. We're going to see it through. We're going to play our part to get SHIB to a penny. That's what we're going to do now. And then once we're there, then as a company, we'll probably take on a couple other coins and different campaigns and get creative with that. But for now, I think that especially because SHIB is getting so much attention, there's a massive community here. There's still so much room to get creative within it. So we'll be here for a while.
I love it. So somebody asked this question. I'm not quite sure where this came from. I must have missed this. Situation with you and BSC NFT. Did they take your IP? You want to address that?
No. So yeah, I do want to address this actually, because this is something that, you know, I just kind of left alone because it seemed like it was taking a shape that I wasn't comfortable with. And so when we first did our very first burn party, we had this company reach out to us asking if they could host our NFT that we were going to auction off. And we said yes. They agreed to a 95% would go to us that we would burn, 5% would go to them. That would be their payment after it sold. So that was the agreement. During that, we realized we wanted the NFT to be, you know, the same graphic as our burn party graphic. So we created that. We sent it to them, and we said they had planned on doing another NFT for it, but we never said that that's the one we wanted. We said, here, this is our burn party graphic. Here's the final one, right? And so we said, use this one. You guys can do whatever you want with the previous one, but this one is our graphic. It's our intellectual property. And long story short, when we had some exchanges about the royalty, the 10% that automatically goes, we found out they claimed it. They claimed it as their own. Their fee was supposed to be the 5%, not the royalty for life on our creation. And so, yeah, it caused a big uproar because we backed out. And I feel like we were rightfully justified in backing out because it was our intellectual property. We created it. They were just supposed to be a third-party host, yet they were trying to claim lifelong royalties of our NFTs. And so I think there's been a lot of stuff spread on Reddit that says that that's not the case, but I mean, we ended up filing a DMCA and they looked into it and we won that case because of this. And so there you go.
Gotcha. No, thanks for clearing that up. I'm sure a lot of people wanted to hear that. And Roy, thank you. And thank you everybody else out there for sending super chats. I'll tally it all up. YouTube does it for me at the end, and I'll even make a public post about it. And you know, we'll send it off to the burn address later. So that's awesome. Thanks, Roy. So do you think SHIB can reach a penny?
I do. I mean, this is all based on how involved the community is. I think that's with any strategy like this, you know. But yeah, I mean, again, like that whole million holders burning $30. I mean, when you break it down like that, that's not too crazy, especially because we're still in the beginning stages of SHIB. A million holders, a little over a million holders, that's not too crazy, right? And so I'm hoping when we get to the stage where we're talking, you know, 5 to 10 million holders or more, then throwing out numbers like that, where it's like, hey, if 1 million of us burn 30, you know, I think it becomes more and more realistic over time. I think time right now is the biggest factor. People just, if you're getting into SHIB to get rich quick, this is not going to work. You know, right. This is a long game.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I always tell my audience, and you may have heard this stat too. This always blows my mind, man. Only 4% of the world right now is invested in cryptocurrency. Like, that's right. How early we are. I mean, this is like, you know, there's 8 billion people in the world. Don't do math in public. What is it? 300 million, give or take, that are in, you know, in crypto. I mean, so it's crazy. So you look at Bitcoin, you look at Ethereum, obviously they drive the market. Where do we think this global market cap will be 10 years from now? And really, I mean, obviously SHIB's already situated itself in the top 20, top 15. It's the sky's the limit, because people always say, well, the market cap would have to be this. Well, yes, but everything else is going to drive the global market cap up with it too, right? So it's not the only thing moving by itself. So
exactly.
I agree with you, man. I think the sky's the limit. I think, let me ask you this. What do you think about Dogecoin? Did you ever get involved with Dogecoin? Because that kind of set the stage for SHIB. Were you somebody who missed the boat on Dogecoin like me, or sold too early?
Yeah, I never owned Doge, and I think I just watched from the sidelines. I was definitely captivated by the hype and the community of it. In the same way, I mean, I think AMC and all that was going on around the same time. And I think that those kind of like hype-driven, you know, things really do fascinate me. I want to understand the psychology behind it and like how quickly it spreads and things like that. But no, Doge, I think I stood the sidelines mainly because I never saw a clear utility. And going back to SHIB, the Shiba swap, the 66% lockup, that was the break. I would have done the same thing with SHIB if I didn't start learning about that kind of stuff. And now, of course, all the things being talked about behind the scenes, that is a game changer. So
100%. So right now, I think we said this off air when we were talking, just kind of before we went live. The only thing you're focused on and invested in personally, right, in crypto is SHIB at the moment?
Yep. So Bigger Entertainment and our wallets, only SHIB. And we did that on purpose because, especially after the Ask the Doctor situation, it kind of validated it, because we want to make it known, like, we're not here to, like, one day you'll be like, oh, are they going to burn today? And instead, all of a sudden we burn a different coin, you know? And so, yeah, we want to make it clear, like, as a company, we've decided to risk it all, align with this community. We believe in it. We believe SHIB will do great things. We're going all in, trying to create burn mechanisms. And, you know, we'll get rich when SHIB goes to a penny, like everyone else. And that's kind of what we're trying to do.
I love it. Are there any plans with Bone and Leash, other parts of the SHIB ecosystem, to kind of integrate them into the larger initiative? Or are you still kind of thinking about it? Or
there are definitely plans there. None of them are solidified yet, so I can't go into detail. But yes, I see us, especially as we learn what the devs are up to behind the scenes and what new things are going to be introduced. We want to have a strategy for everything within the SHIB community.
Gotcha. So something happened here, like while we're live on stream here, because a bunch of people are messaging me. So I found it here. SHIB token 14 minutes ago. Please be aware that CoinMarketCap has knowingly listed 3 fake contract addresses for SHIB. None of these 3 addresses, BEP20, Solana, or Terra, are valid SHIB addresses and are very unsafe to use. Do not interact with these contracts. Do not purchase SHIB from these addresses, as your funds will be irreversibly lost. Wow. So CoinMarketCap has refused to communicate with the SHIB team on updates to the token page and willingly allowed malicious actors to vandalize our listing. The defense team at Shiba Inu is extraordinarily disappointed by the lack of professionalism demonstrated by CoinMarketCap, a supposed pillar of integrity in the crypto community. We are in contact with CoinMarketCap to have their mistake corrected promptly. Okay.
Wow.
So, you know, we've seen this before. CMC has had some major issues. So, you know, I don't know if you want to speak to this. Your thoughts?
This is a big one. I would like to look into it more, but yeah, no, I think that, you know, just from a personal aspect, I've really started to kind of ignore ignore CoinMarketCap. Because I do think if you do the math, especially among the dead wallets and the holders and whatnot, there's so much false information there. 80% don't own the top, or 80% not owned by 10 people or any of that stuff that keeps being thrown out there. And so, yeah, it's not that shocking. Let's just say that.
Yeah, CoinMarketCap has had its issues. I like to use CoinGecko for everybody out there too. There's other places too to follow along the charts and TradingView and DEX tools and things like that. So yeah, there you go. Boca's got it. He said he deleted CMC off his devices. I still use it in videos because it is really user friendly and it looks nice and all that stuff. But they're calling you a general of the SHIB army. Do you like
that? I didn't expect to be one, but I'll take it.
So I got to ask you this, man, too. So have you, I know you're big on Twitter. Have you thought about like doing more kind of video marketing, I guess, for the company, like you as the face?
Maybe not me as the face. I kind of like, if you talk to my business partner, Jack, shout out to Jack Cottingham. I'm an ideas man. That's where I thrive. I'm very much hopefully, as my life goes on, a Steve Jobs type innovative builder. That's what I like being. And so I want to stay positioned as, come up with creative ways to market, come up with creative ways for our music, come up with creative ways to get SHIB to a penny, all these things. And so I don't want to take the focus off of that. I don't claim to be an influencer, I guess. Right. And so, but we are working, and we have multiple conversations going on behind the scenes right now with different influencers, and really, we want to build similar to what we're doing with our merch. And so, instead of just throwing up a SHIB merch store, which yes, that's what it is right now, right? But our goal with decentralized merch is to create a full merch ecosystem of crypto, right? And same with our YouTube channel. So we're going to be focused on trying to create more of like a news style crypto channel, covering different aspects of the market, covering SHIB, covering music. We noticed there's not a lot of people covering like when Snoop buys a new coin or when Meek Mill gets into a coin or whatever. We want to send people out to do interviews with those guys. We have those connections. And so that's what we're trying to build.
I love that. That's a great idea. Here's another great idea. They say, Pablo, we need a Shibathon, raise the burn, like a large event, right? Like a 24-hour burn event or something. Has that been thrown around at all? That's
not a bad idea at all. We've thrown out around the idea of not a 24-hour one. That's awesome. We've thrown out the idea of doing a summer festival, like a Shibapalooza. And so
that'd be cool.
That's something that we're trying to put together. I do want to try to introduce a few in-person ways to burn SHIB as well, because I think that'll really start inspiring retail companies and different things like that.
I love it, man. So it's funny we're talking about this, and it's almost like we're just having a conversation here, but everybody else is listening in. So a couple of YouTubers and we were talking to somebody out in Vegas. We have a connect out there who's got can dot all the I's, cross the T's, get a place, venue, and all that. We're thinking about a ShibaCon event live.
Yeah,
Vegas, and maybe we can kind of join forces with you and Bigger Entertainment, have burning going on as part of like, have panels.
Absolutely.
You guys have a panel, and so we'll definitely talk more about that. I think that'd be awesome for the community.
Yeah, I'll just throw that out now. I don't even need to talk to my business partner about that. I'm in. So if you guys decide to do it, count us in.
All right, that's great. I'm gonna take a note of it because we're actually set to meet about it next month, and we're going to meet with the guy in Vegas and try to work out some details maybe for later this year. So that's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, I went with a good buddy of mine. We went to a Bitcoin conference not too long ago, and I just love, there's something about when you're among the community in person. And so I think if we can create that would be a great thing.
100%. Yeah, I went out to the Saitama event out in Vegas that they had, because I'm also an investor there and talking about it here on the channel quite a bit. It was so amazing putting names to the face, faces to the names that I see in the comment section, and we're all hanging out. So 100%. Yeah, I'll definitely bring you up to speed on that. Are you going to Bitcoin Miami?
No, but we have our new director of social media is down there, and so she might go on our behalf. So we'll see.
So I always ask this question: what is something you want to tell the people, tell the community that I haven't asked you about that you definitely just want to get off your chest and put it out there? Is there something that's important that I haven't asked about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important that I think two things. These are going to sound funny, but one, I'm not a dev. I'm not a developer of Shiba. And so I think a lot of, comments I've received and messages and all that come from a lens of, why aren't you doing this and this and this? And it's because that's not my role, right? I'm just a guy. I literally am just a guy with a company. And we decided to use our company to start burning. Right now, there's 9 other companies that we saw in this last news article that came out, 9 pretty established companies that are all dedicating to this. I think there'll be much, much more. So I want the community to just kind of look at what we're doing from that lens, because, I think we burned over, $50,000 or so. And that's pretty crazy for just a small company and just random people. A very short amount of time. And so, and now a lot of that is burn parties and things, but it's all community events that we're structuring. We have people in place that are putting in their time and energy, and it's all these things. And there's other companies doing the same thing. And so, I just want the community to separate the two. It's like what we're doing and what these other companies are doing, I think, is an incredible thing that has never really been done before in these communities. And so we should celebrate it. We should get behind it. If you're not getting behind what we're doing, get behind one of them. And but yeah, let the devs do what they do. Let us do what we do, and putting everyone in one category.
I'm with you. Matt has a good question. As someone in the entertainment biz, do you hear or know of any big names that are interested in SHIB or own any SHIB? Celeb attention could be big. That's a good question.
Absolutely. There's tons of them. I mean, I'm not going to drop their names right now, but I will say, even our buddy 40 Glock, I'll give him a shout out. He's part of G Unit, and he was one of the first to burn some SHIB to get added to our playlist. Now we have a song with him that we're releasing separate. A lot of people around him, he talks about SHIB all the time to them. We got, when I first started doing this, my old music manager is also manager for DJ Who Kid and a bunch of other people that we had phone conversations with about SHIB. And so, I mean, word is definitely spreading. And those are guys connected with Eminem and 50 Cent and Snoop and all the big dogs, And so I think judging by the amount of demos we're getting as well by different artists within the SHIB community, you can kind of see a lot of high caliber people coming into it. I won't say who, but we received a composer hit us up who's, one of the top composers at Universal Records, a lot of movie trailers, a lot of things like that, is a huge SHIB Army advocate. Now, with their careers and their contracts in place, not all of them can just do what we're doing. They can't be as vocal, right? Because there's all kinds of other deals and stuff that would cause this to kind of be a conflict of interest. But that doesn't mean they don't hold it. That doesn't mean they're not supporting it. And so, yeah.
So somebody asked, I can't find the question in chat, but how do you kind of plan for these burns? Somebody asked, what are the plans for the first quarter of 2022? Do you think of it like that? Or you kind of one event at a time and then kind of see what you can change after, see what you can do differently and make better? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I think that's what the past, so we're coming up on our 3rd event. I think the past 2 events, that's exactly what it's been is, again, the burn party wasn't even our idea. It was the community being like, hey, this playlist is awesome. We need a burn party. And it's like, okay, I guess we'll do that too, And now we love it. And we're going to try to get it more developed and have more activities and more fun stuff and make it an actual event. But it takes time. And that's something we're learning as we go. All of this, guys, we're learning as we go. Again, just a guy with a company.
So I'm getting a bunch of these questions too. We addressed this earlier in the stream, but how can a holder burn it? I think I've seen that a few more times. And if there's something I could show on screen, I could pull up the site too, if that helps.
Yeah, so shibburn.com is where most of this is always taking place. I think we are going to add the dead wallet address to our burn section as well on our website. But for now, if you go to shibburn.com and you scroll down, you're always going to see the dead wallet here. So this is the address right here. So you just copy that. This is in orange there. So that's the wallet we burn to. So it's nothing crazy. It's not some hidden wallet. It's very public. It's the same one Buterin burned 410 trillion to. And so you copy it and you send it just like you're sending it to a normal person, except it goes to that wallet, which can never be accessed. And so that's the extent of burning. And that's also why you're not always going to see the supply decrease right away, because those wallets, it's still technically a holder. It's still a holder to these companies that are tracking it. So the coins are still there. They're still sitting there. They just can never be accessed again. And every now and then, a company like CoinMarketCap or whatever will go in and they'll update the numbers. So make sure community's aware of that.
Yeah, and that was something we talked about earlier. A lot of times it doesn't show on CoinMarketCap the actual circulating supply after things are burned. It takes time. They don't update it all the time. And as we covered tonight, they're not always accurate on some other things too. So,
right.
Just know that when you use this wallet address, it is burning SHIB, and that you're doing what you're set out to do. So
yeah, and I think two things to be reminded of is that have been tested over time. SHIB's been around a little while now. They're not adding coins. The supply is the supply. There was way too many to begin with, but that is the supply, right?
Yep.
The second thing is that it's not that these dead wallets are not accessed. There's so much money in those accounts that by now someone would have traded something. It's been dead for a very long time.
Very true. Hey, this is a fun question. Daniel's one of our mods in the Discord. What's happening, Daniel? Favorite song which burns SHIB and where to buy it? This is kind of a conflict of interest for you, but I mean, there's got to be a couple favorites, right?
Yeah, I got a couple. My personal favorites. So my best friend Jack, he's got a song. So Jay Cotty, "Emotionless" is the song. That's one of my personal favorites. I think that's a great one. Also, Sydney Cross. She's one of our favorite artists here in Kansas City. Her song "Water" is one of my favorites. We got Clay Hughes. I think Clay Hughes has just such a cool sound. His song "Atmosphere" to me has a very cool, Jason Mraz, Jack Johnson type vibe. Love that one. So there's all kinds of good ones there.
Very cool.
One of my favorite new ones, I got to shout this guy out because he wasn't part of our company, but he submitted for the Shiba series compilation we do. But Kevin Love's Nike song, I think is so good. I listen to that in the mornings, like when I'm getting pumped up.
I love it. Roy says, thanks for your efforts. Any chance more country artists on board?
Absolutely. So diversifying, when we first started as a catalog, we specialized in music licensing, and the two areas we specialized in were background hip hop and then also instrumental, like background playlist music. So now, since this thing has changed and we're taking on a different shape, that is our main focus right now, is diversifying our catalog. So we've signed our first Latin artist, we've signed country, we have tons of new singer-songwriter, folk, pop, all kinds of stuff coming in like crazy. So,
and how often do you get? I guess my real question is, what is the process like for a new artist to come into bigger entertainment? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that since again this has taken on different shape, I think in the beginning, it was more about signing the project, promoting the project. This is more about promoting the catalog as a whole. Right. So it's not highlighting any one artist that the community doesn't want to highlight, right? And so I think it's more about, especially with like our compilations, those are where it really makes sense. So artists are like, hey, here's a song. As long as you guys don't own the rights to it, I'll give it to you guys to use to burn, right? And so we add them to compilations. We promote the compilations, the royalties that come in, we burn it based on the percentage. So if they're like, hey, burn 100%, we burn 100%. If they're like, hey, I need 50% of that, we give them 50% of that, burn the rest. And so that's what it looks like. But it allows us to pick quality artists among the community and just highlight the heck out of all the different artists that are within this.
Very cool. David says, put the link in chat. How do I burn SHIB by listening to it? Where? Take my money.
Take my money. I love it. biggerentertainment.com/playlists. There's no one link because you have to select your store. So if you go to biggerentertainment.com, click playlists, everything we ever do will be on this website. So if you go down, you can see there's the official playlists. The official playlists are going to burn the most coins because they have all of the artists. The official playlist is literally everything our company owns, right? So you can pick your store, put it on shuffle, play through, discover all kinds of new music, right? Instrumental, we created that for background. So when you're working, you know, whatever. And then we have our workout playlist that we're building right now. So we're going to keep adding to this. We're going to do restaurant playlists. We're going to do like lounge style playlists. Hopefully here soon, once we've gathered enough content, we'll do genre specific playlists. All of them will burn.
Have you ever thought about burning while listening to a podcast?
Yeah, actually. So if there's people out there who are interested in creating a podcast, as long as the concept is cool, shoot us a DM, because that's an area we'd love to get into. And cool. Honestly, the community, most of our ideas have come from the community. So I do want to stress, like, if you guys have ideas of where we could take this, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Love that. So everybody out there, all 834 of you, if you have good ideas, drop them in the comment section. And thank you all for being out there too. Make sure you hit the like button here while you're hanging out. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Go over and give Steven a follow as well on Twitter so you can keep up to speed with everything going on with Bigger Entertainment, the first crypto record label. So nobody's ever done this. And I think I've asked this maybe maybe off air. How did this come to be? Like, nobody's ever done this. I know you're a guy that with ideas. I love that. Was it like an aha moment one night? Like, we're going to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. All of this kind of, it was a snowball effect. I think when I learned about the dead wallet and that average people could burn to it, that's when the initial burn playlist came into play. Then when we saw the response to that and we realized, wow, people are actually discovering music at the same time. They're like, hey, they're commenting on, oh, I love this song and I love this artist. And that's when we were like, okay, well, maybe there's more to aligning with different communities like this, using music as the tool, right? And so that's where the whole crypto record label came to play. Like, now we take the stance of what that means to us is that we are marketing solely within the crypto/metaverse space. That's it. We're not really putting any money and any marketing efforts into your general avenues of music marketing anymore. All of it's within these crypto communities. And so, yeah, it's definitely brand new. No one's ever done it. And I think we have a lot of eyes watching to see if it'll actually be a longevity thing.
I love it. Nick J says, if the artist has a song on Apple or Spotify and other streaming venues, can there be a mechanism used to burn per stream?
Not per stream. So in order to burn per stream, we have to be the one to distribute your music. But we do offer, if you go to our website, if you go to the Artist Hub section, let's just go over this just real fast. So if you go here and you go down, we have 3 ways to get involved with us right now. So becoming an artist would be, we actually release a project for you. All of our deals are 50-50. We don't sign the artist, we just sign the project. So you're never bound to us. You're free and clear. So there's where we would start as an artist. The Shiba series compilation, if you don't want to do a full project, this is meant to highlight the SHIB community. And so you can donate one song. We take 100% of the profits, we burn it. Or if we have to make a deal where it's like, I don't want to do the 100, we can talk about it. But you still own the song. It doesn't impact any of your other releases. It simply goes on a compilation. You get 100% of your publishing, and we just burn the actual stream royalty, right? And then if you go down, and the compilations are always added to our playlist. The last one is if you don't want to do any of those, but you just want a song you already have out added to the playlist, we ask that you burn up front. And the reason why we do this is because these playlists get a lot of activity and you're going to make money from it. You're going to get royalties. And so we basically only add artists who we've seen burn $75 or more in SHIB. And if we see that and they show us a Etherscan transaction to that, we'll add their song to our playlist. And we'll keep it on there for 45 days.
Very cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you for breaking that down, too. That was cool. So let's see here. Easy way. Clicked on YouTube, first row playlist, and it takes me to YouTube. Would I burn SHIB listening on that on YouTube? So if we go back to that playlist category, I think he's referencing this right here, right?
Yep. So any of those links, it'll take you to either YouTube Music or just standard YouTube, whichever one you prefer to use. And every one of those burns. And the reason every one of those burns is because this isn't based on the stores themselves. This is us, in a sense, our artists donating a portion of the royalties to SHIB, right? And so it doesn't matter, honestly, even if you're listening to these songs outside of those stores, let's say you have a store that's not listed there. We get a lot of questions about Apple Music and all these other ones. Any of them count. Any song from our official playlist on any store whatsoever, there's going to be a royalty generated. The artist then donates a portion of their royalty, buys SHIB, and burns it.
Great. Love it. So let's see. What other questions do we have? Arturo, thanks for the question in that super chat. That will go to the burn wallet probably tomorrow once I tally that all up, and then I'll send out a tweet. How much money it takes to burn 1 trillion Shiba? So I think you had a great analogy earlier. If every person donates what, $30?
Yeah, I mean, right now, if 1 million people donated $30, which is 1 million SHIB, we would burn 1 trillion. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's $30 million.
Yeah, 30 mil. So let me ask you this, man. So we're getting kind of down to the wire here. Again, so for the February 14th burn, what is unique about this one? What are y'all doing differently that you haven't done before?
I don't know so we're doing like custom shout outs of couples and using our Twitter as that tool. So they can expose their love to over 100,000 people. Really, these are just creative ways to get people to burn on their own, right? And so whether it's through merch, we have custom merch coming out, which will drop tomorrow, our first one, and then each week after, leading up to Valentine's Day, we'll have a new line that drops. Those are all limited merch drops, so they're only around for this campaign, and then they're gone, right? So we're getting creative with things like that to where it always feels different. But the goal at the end of the day is to get the community rallied to burn some coins off the supply. So you can either just buy a ticket at biggerentertainment.com/events. You can buy a burn ticket. We'll burn that. If you want something for burning, then you can either buy merch. You can buy a shout out. You can, if you don't have any money, you can play the playlist. So we have all these different ways to contribute to that pot that we then burn.
Absolutely love it. Somebody asked, are you hooked up with Pandora?
Oh yeah. All of our tracks are on Pandora. Our distribution reaches about 300 different DSPs, which send them out to the different stores, and so it's worldwide. So I mean, we're in KK Box in Korea, and Tencent in China, and all those places. But yeah, Pandora is a big one.
Oh, sorry. Is Kanye involved with Shiba?
I don't know Kanye personally. I've sat in a room with him, but I don't know him personally. So
here's another good one. Now that Spotify does video instead of just music, would you be open to letting me stream video games? Wow.
It's awesome.
To burn SHIB. I have over 3K hours in the game, and I'm a Chad. Love to help as much as I could.
I love it. Yeah. So, and this is something we're putting together a little deeper now. But right now, the majority of the songs, I would say around 70% of what you will find on our official playlist, you can use in Twitch, TikTok, you can use wherever, right? So you can definitely use it when you're streaming. We're developing a little deeper list of where those songs can be used specifically. And then once we have that out, I think it'll make it to where this conversation is super easy. But the answer is yes. Just go through the playlist, pick songs you like, and then test them out. But you're never gonna get issues from us. We're not gonna come after you.
Yeah. Cool. Question. So can we just set a playlist to play and leave it playing while we go to work?
Yeah, we don't want to encourage, because we don't want these playlists taken down, and we don't want any fraudulent activity. So we encourage people this is more about how you would normally use a playlist. So if you have a current playlist you put on as background music at work, make it our instrumental playlist, or make it whatever. If you have a current workout playlist, make it our workout playlist. You can even take any song from our official list and you can compile it into your own playlists. So you can make these songs part of your everyday life instead of just, feeling like you have to just like turn it on and loop it 24 hours a day. That will eventually get these things taken down if too many people are doing that kind of stuff, and that wouldn't be good for anyone. So
agreed. Felipa, how about a Super Bowl burn? Billions will be watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so we're going to do a what we're calling the Super Burn campaign. And again, this is just a fun extra thing, but we've created jerseys. We're going to pin the SHIB army against each other. So we have one jersey that's going to say burn on the background, and we're going to have one that's going to say hold. And you can buy which jersey you like best, and we're going to burn from that. And then also we'll have a Super Bowl playlist that people can play with all kinds of other hit songs too. So stuff like Eminem and, you know, all the others. And that's really important because what that does, whenever we release those kind of side playlists, that ties our songs to all these different analytics that are out there in the algorithms. And so if we get associated with different game day playlists and things like that, it causes people to discover the songs, right? And then they're burning without even being a SHIB holder. They're burning without even knowing it, right? So those are very important.
Victor wants to know how many SHIBs or Shiba coins are going to be burned this quarter.
I will put out this challenge, guys. I've been on this mission for a while. I want to burn 1 billion coins in a single transaction. So
there we go.
If you go to biggerentertainment.com and you buy a burn ticket, $5, okay, it would only take around 5,500 people. That's it. 5,500 buying a $5 ticket to burn 1 billion coins in a single transaction. So if you don't mind doing that, we're going to do it. But yeah, so as far as the quarter, we are hoping to triple our total burn. And so if we can be by the end of the quarter at a minimum of 3 billion, that would be great for us.
Aaron asks, can we submit an artist to be part of the playlist?
Yeah, absolutely. So Aaron, go to the Artist Hub section on our website. And there's 3 different options of how to get involved with this. So we can either release a project, you can be a part of our compilation series, or you can submit to the playlist. But I will say for the playlist, we are only adding artists that are contributing to burning SHIB. So if you're willing to burn a little SHIB and we see that you're part of that burn club, then we'll add one of your songs.
Yep. And at least what was the number? 70?
Yeah, we're at 75. Because we're not in this to, you know, have like any set. If we see an artist that's like, hey, I just want to help burn and will you highlight, we'll probably end up doing it. But this is just a goal to get everyone to contribute. And that money goes straight to the dead wallet. That doesn't even go through our company. We just show them how to burn it themselves. So
cool. Awesome. So everybody out there, Steven, I want to make sure, just thank you, man. Hang back for just a minute too after, just so we can chat for a minute. But this has been great, man. I really appreciate it. Everybody out there listening, still hanging out, just under 800 people out there. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to this stream tonight and learning more about what Bigger Entertainment's doing, what Steven Cooper's all about, and really hope you enjoyed it. I think we're getting a lot of great feedback in the comments. So what's the one last thing you want to leave the SHIB Army with?
I mean, I think this is a chance for all of us to it's really cool, actually, because it's a chance for all of us to like get creative together, work together, have a common goal, not just to make money, right? These burn strategies, like I said, can help a lot of artists. It can help a lot of businesses. It can help a lot of influencers like yourself. Everyone in the community can play this role of getting involved in just a new, unique way that the crypto community hasn't really seen yet. And so I think it's really cool. And I would just love to see us come together a little more. Stop the FUD. Stop listening to all these people who are just, they don't get it. They have no vision, you know, and let's work together.
I love it. Let's do this. Steven Cooper, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. I will see you all tomorrow, and take care. And we got to do this again.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Zach, for having me.
Yep, no problem. See y'all.